sex life of Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria was nicknamed Her Little Majesty for her youthful reign, and she had a big appetite for life, both literally and figuratively. While her love of hearty meals and elaborate feasts was well documented, her life held more spice and excitement than many realised. After her passionate wedding night with Prince Albert, Victoria openly hinted at their intimate connection, shocking some in the conservative Victorian era. It even whispered that she indulged in self-gratification, defying societal norms. But let's start with the food. Unlike most ladies of her time, Victoria loved exotic flavours and adventure on her plate. She savoured spicy curries, relished plump oysters, and delighted in fresh fruits from distant lands. Some, like the uptight reformer, Mary Ward Allen, judged her for these unnatural preferences, linking them to rumours about her personal life. But to understand Victoria's food quirks, you have to look back at her childhood. Growing up, Princess Victoria had a hearty appetite. She wasn't shy about enjoying her meals, perhaps a bit too much in the eyes of her concerned family. They wanted her to slow down and get more exercise, with one relative even commenting on her slightly excessive eating habits. This, however, backfired. The strict and controlled diet that they imposed, featuring meals like milk and bread, only fueled Victoria's rebellious spirit. As queen, she finally had control over her plate, and she readily indulged in the foods that she once craved, including a daily dose of mutton. A growing girl with a healthy appetite, she was forced to endure bland meals of milk and bread, leaving her yearning for more. This strict upbringing fueled her lifelong love for rich, flavorful dishes. Once crowned queen, Victoria finally unleashed her culinary desires. Breakfast were royal feasts with smoked fish, fluffy breads and perfectly cooked eggs. Lunches featured picnic-like spreads laden with sandwiches and pastries. Dinners were grand affairs bursting with soups, roast meats, seasonal vegetables and, of course, potatoes, a firm favourite. And then there were the desserts, from towering cakes to delicate jellies. Victoria had a sweet tooth that rivalled her love for savoury treats. Even pineapples, a rare and expensive luxury, were specially grown for her table. But food wasn't just sustenance for Victoria, it was a symbol of power, pleasure, and a rebellion against her restricted past. Her love for life extended beyond the dining table, evident in her passionate relationship with Prince Albert and her zest for adventure. So next time you picture Queen Victoria, remember the tiny monarch with a big appetite for life, good food, and perhaps a touch of naughty fun that defied the expectations of her time. Queen Victoria wasn't one to shy away from a good time, and that included indulging in all sorts of delicious treats. From warming mulled wine to different types of sweets like chocolatey sponges, delicate cat's tongues, and rich pralines, she revelled in diverse flavours. Even classic comforts like pies and cranberry tarts found their way onto her table, satisfying her sweet tooth and adventurous palate. However, when it came to her children's plates, Victoria switched gears. In the world of the nursery, she believed in simpler fare, plain roast with broths, nourishing but not extravagant. Perhaps it was a reflection of her own childhood restrictions, or maybe just a different vision for their upbringing. Despite her dedication to her kids' diets, Victoria remained a true foodie herself. She was a connoisseur of both tea and whiskey, even having a special blend of the latter crafted near her Balmoral estate, enjoyed with a splash of soda water. But all those delicious indulgences took their toll. Some doctors, quite frankly, compared her physique to a barrel. By her 60s, her weight would have been considered obese by modern standards, breaking the mould of the expected delicate Victorian lady. Now, proper ladies in those days were supposed to eat daintily and avoid overly flavourful or stimulating foods. It was almost seen as dangerous, like a poison for their delicate feminine digestion. But Victoria wasn't one to follow every rule. There were whispers of her trying diet foods on occasion, but mostly she just kept enjoying her lavish spreads. So Queen Victoria wasn't just a ruler, she was a culinary rebel, defying expectations and celebrating deliciousness on her own terms. In Queen Victoria's time, what you ate and who you loved were deeply intertwined, and oh boy, did Victoria break the mould. Back then, people got all worked up about what food meant about your character, especially for women. A lady was supposed to nibble like a bird and never show any excitement for, well, anything really. But not Victoria. She loved bold flavours, spicy curries, and all sorts of yummy goodness. Some folks, like a doctor named Mary Ward Allen, even thought her love for strong flavours meant that she was doing unnatural things. They believed a woman's appetite reflected her morality, dainty bites for a pure soul, heavy meals for her. Well, you get the picture. But Victoria scoffed at those expectations. She loved food and she wasn't shy about enjoying it, just like she wasn't shy about enjoying her husband, Prince Albert. Remember, this was a time when people didn't even talk about such things openly, but Victoria went ahead and wrote about their passionate nights in her diary. They even collected sexy art together, defying all of the rules. Queen Victoria and Albert married on the 10th of February 1840, and she noted in her diary shortly after that they didn't sleep much, as she described their first night together. They were also advised to forego sexual activity to prevent further pregnancies. Victoria responded with dismay, yet she thought that her 9 pregnancies were a hindrance to married life. Now Victorians were obsessed with controlling women, even making up illnesses like hysteria to explain why some ladies fainted all the time. Spoiler alert, it was usually from being bored and repressed. Some young women even starved themselves to rebel against these restrictions, which wasn't healthy at all. But Victoria, as the Queen, had a bit more freedom. She could eat what she wanted, love who she wanted, and nobody could really tell her otherwise. So her love for food and her open affection for her husband became a kind of symbol of her power and independence, even within the confines of her royal life. In a nutshell, Queen Victoria was a foodie and a lovebird who refused to be boxed in by the rules, and that's pretty cool.